Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of College Football Takeover. It's going to be a great episode today. Last time, I did what I think the ranking should be. Today, we're going to be talking about coaches who are under pressure this season. The coaching carousel is not going to be as crazy as last year. Excuse me, I think we can almost all agree on that. But it still could be a pretty crazy cycle. I mean, last year was extra crazy, but this one could still be crazy. We're going to talk about the notable coaches who were on the hot seat. But before we dive into all that, let's get to the trivia question of the day. The category is awards, true or false. All these players were named to the 2023 All-Pro squad. Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson, Kansas City guard Joe Thuney, Dallas wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, Detroit offensive tackle Penei Sewell, and San Francisco running back Christian McCaffrey. Excuse me, I'll repeat the question. The category is awards, true or false. All these players, were named to the 2023 All-Pro squad. Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson, Kansas City guard Joe Thuney, Dallas wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, Detroit offensive tackle Penei Sewell, and San Francisco running back Christian McCaffrey. Put your answer in the comments. I'll answer that at the end of the episode. Today's football birthdays are Plaxico Burress, Chris Chambers, Greg Manuski, and Adam Goldberg. So happy birthday to those gentlemen. Those are your football birthdays and your football trivia question for Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. Excuse me. August 29th, so in 17 days, about 2.5 weeks, we get college football back. It's just week 0, but that's going to be fun. But now let's get into the hot seat coaches. I think the most obvious one, it's almost impossible to make a case for this guy not to be on the hot seat. Excuse me, Mr. Mike Norvell. He's been at Florida State for, counting the COVID year, 6 years. 6 years. Of course, he came from Memphis, went 38-15 at Memphis, was a really good group of 6 coach, or group of 5 at the time. A group of 6 is just starting this year. And the funny thing is, his first 2 years at Florida State, he was bad. 3-6 the COVID year, and 5-7 his first full complete year there. So he was doing a bad job. I don't really remember. I wasn't really following college football too closely, if really at all, back then. But there was probably hot seat talk. There's high expectations at Florida State. And in his first 2 years, he was 8-13. But it's only two years. Not enough to judge by. And then everything turned around. They had that in 2022, they had that 9-3 regular season, won the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl against Oklahoma and went 10-3. So it was okay, finally things get rolling. And then the next year, 2023, we all know they were 10-0 playing North Alabama. They were trailing. Jordan Travis broke his leg. They ended up blowing them out with the backup quarterback. Then they beat their rival Florida in a defensive game. And then they had their third-string quarterback because their backup had a concussion. And they beat Louisville 16-3 in the ACC championship game. So there was the talk, does a 13-0 Power 5 conference champion make it? They'd be the first ever undefeated Power 5 champion to not make it. They didn't make it. Florida State was mad just because Jordan Travis got hurt. They felt they should still make it. Then they lost 63-3 against Georgia. All that stuff, right? And then next year, 12-team playoff, disastrous season, preseason ranked 10th. DJ Uyunglele was trashed. They go 2-10. One of those wins was against an FCS school in Charleston Southern. And then last season looked like, Mike Norvell's bringing them back. They beat Alabama. They got for a 3-0, 8th ranked in the country start. Then they lost to Virginia and they fell off the rails 5-7. So it was kind of first 2 seasons bad, next 2 seasons good, last 2 seasons bad. So if he keeps up on that trend, these next 2 seasons are going to be good. Tommy Castellanos is gone. That was a 3-game wonder, him being this fantastic quarterback. And, excuse me, it's going to take a lot because people are saying Florida State has a brutal schedule. Like, they go to Alabama and host SMU early on. Or, like, it's starting to have a brutal schedule in the ACC. But people are saying that they could lose enough games for Norvell to be out of a job before November. Like, the only thing stopping Mike Norvell from getting fired is the buyout. That's what was stopping him last year. Everyone was like, he's going to get fired. The buyout, because they gave him that massive contract because they were concerned he was going to go to Alabama. I think I heard that from Josh Pate's show. But, so, hopefully, first 2 years bad, next 2 years good. These past 2 years bad, so then these next 2 years will be good. But I don't know, because they can lose at home against SMU. They'll be the underdogs most likely, and they'll probably lose at Alabama. So that's 2 losses early. It's brutal. They probably play Miami because that's a rivalry. They're gonna play Florida, obviously. Like, I think Norvell's gonna get fired. It would be hard. I mean, you never know. Yeah, of course. But there's a chance, there's a pretty solid chance Mike Norvell is going to be out of a job. I think he's the most obvious person on this list. Almost everyone's like, Mike Norvell's on the hot seat. You don't necessarily think he's going to get fired, everybody, but you have to admit he's on the hot seat. Next up, a coach who, even if this year goes solid, it is playoff or bust. If they do not make the playoffs, I think this coach is gone. And that is Mr. Lincoln Riley. 55-10 in 5 seasons at Oklahoma. That is an average of 11-2 each season. Like, that's like literally, it adds out to 11-2 each season. He was incredible. And he started out great at USC. He brought Caleb Williams with him. Caleb Williams won Heisman. 11-1, went to the Pac-12 championship. They were up like 17-3 against Utah. They're like, if we win this game, we're in the playoff. Then Caleb Williams got hurt. He still played the rest of the game, but he played bad, and they lost to Utah. Then they got upset in the Cotton Bowl later on, despite Caleb Williams, I think, being healthy by that point. Finished 11-3. Then they had that collapse year, started out 6-0, fell off, finished 7-5 in the regular season. Caleb Williams opted out of the bowl game. They won in the Holiday Bowl because Miller Moss dropped 6 touchdowns. So, kind of some hype there, but a disappointing 8-5 Holiday Bowl champion year. Then, next year moved to the Big Ten. They struggled. Miller Moss did not live up to the hype. 7-6, Las Vegas Bowl champions. Then, next year in the Big Ten went better. 9-4, they lost in the Alamo Bowl. They didn't make the playoffs because they lost at Notre Dame, at Illinois in a game most people are going to say they should have won, and they lost at Oregon. Well, this year, Notre Dame's not on the schedule. Illinois might be, but I doubt it's on the road, and Illinois is not going to be as good this year. Excuse me. And you get Oregon at home. No Notre Dame, obviously, all that stuff. But you do get Ohio State this time, but you get that game at home on Halloween, which is helpful. But Rob Shepley from my collab, I completely forgot about this. He mentioned how Mekhi Lemon's gone. Like, that's a big deal. He won the best wide receiver in all of college football award last year. So that is an important thing to look at. That he won the Bekinaloff or whatever it's called, and he's gone. But they have one of the best returning productions in the Big Ten. My Ava's back. I've got USC beating Ohio State. I've got USC going 10-2. Like, I believe in USC, folks. I'm on that USC hype train. I think they make the college football playoff. Like, I'm on that train, folks, and it's going to be hard to get me off that train. But I do think, last season I was kind of thinking Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly were kind of in the same boat. Both going into their 4th season, doing a decent job, but the school is so prestigious that if they're not winning now, they're going to get fired. Brian Kelly did get fired. Lincoln Riley did enough to keep his job for now, but to not be fully safe. I do think that if they don't make the playoffs this year, even if it's barely, even if they're the first team out, I think you move off of Lincoln Riley. That's what I think they should do at least. And people are going to disagree with me about that, but I do think that. But I don't think he gets fired. I think Mike Norvell gets fired. I don't think Lincoln Riley gets fired because I believe in USC. I can't remember where I found the other loss. They might play Indiana, and they do have to go at Penn State, probably a whiteout. So that's scary, but I believe in them. He's gone 35-18 at USC. A lot worse because in one last season, he's already lost 8 more games and he's won 20 less games. Even if USC goes 16-0 this next year, which is almost impossible, and it would be super stunning if they did, he'd still have 4 less wins in his first 5 years than he did at Oklahoma. It's been a disappointing tenure, so he hopes to improve things and not get fired in year 5. Next up, Davon Aranda. I think it's, if the AD didn't resign or he got fired, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure. But if he didn't leave, Dave Aranda would have gotten fired. I think that's the consensus. He did not. But the AD did leave and he did get fired. That's the important thing to look at. So now there's a new AD, so Aranda's not going to get that help of, oh, the AD left, we can't fire you. Aranda has been trash outside of one fantastic season. Year 1, the COVID year, 2-7. Then things got great. They went 10-2 in the regular season, losing to Oklahoma State in the regular season, and losing against TCU in an upset. But they beat Oklahoma, then they beat Oklahoma State by like an inch in the Big 12 Championship, and beat Ole Miss in the Sugar Bowl. 12-2, Big 12 champions, Sugar Bowl champions. Heck of a turnaround. I remember that was like my first year even briefly following college football. That's kind of getting deceived if you think Baylor's a great program. Next year, 6-7, lost in the Armed Forces Bowl. Dumpster fire. 3-9 the next year. Next year, 8-5. I think they started out like 3-5 that year. I think they started out 4-5 that year I think they started out like 4-4 that year and won 4 in a row to conclude the year before losing in their bowl game. So there was hype last year, but then they went 5-7 and missed out on a bowl game. And like I said, if their AD didn't leave, he would have gotten fired, Davon Aranda. So he's not going to get that help this time. Excuse me. And I think he might get fired. I don't know. If DJ Lagway wasn't there, I'd be 1,000% saying Aranda is going to get canned. And you're like, really, guy? You're not giving up on the DJ Lagway train? Josh Pate has learned from his mistake. I mean, he did a whole thing on a show yesterday being like he was scared to do his SEC quarterback rankings because he put DJ Lagway 1. And I'm not as high on DJ Lagway. I think he could be trash at Baylor, but I also know the upside of DJ Lagway. I know from his freshman year, we know DJ Lagway can be a fantastic quarterback. He has a Heisman caliber level upside that I'm not ready to fully give up on him. I think it all comes down to DJ Lagway if Aranda gets fired. And maybe it was just Billy Napier holding him back, but the Aranda DJ Lagway thing is two guys who need to be saved. Aranda needs a good quarterback to not get fired, and DJ Lagway needs to reset and try to live up to his hype after a dumpster fire at Florida. So these are two guys who need a lot of help, and maybe them coming together, they can both get the help they need. DJ Lagway gets the culture, the coach, the help he needs, and Aranda gets the quarterback he needs to keep his job. Maybe, and they go back to the 2021 roots, win the Big 12 championship, make the college football playoff. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm not ready. I would lean more towards DJ Lagway being struggling this year, but I'm not ready to fully give up on my man DJ Lagway. So that's why I'm not 100% confident in Davon Aranda getting fired. I'm not 100% sure because these are two guys who need each other, who need each other badly. So maybe them coming together will be the perfect thing. I still believe in Lagway a little bit, but he's gone 36-37 at Baylor. And if you take out that 12-2 season, he has gone 24-35. Brutal. But Aranda is absolutely a coach where he's not going to get the benefit of, the AD left, because he would not be the coach there if the AD left. But now, next up, Luke Fickell at Wisconsin. Another coach where kind of the buyout was saving him a little bit. He went 57-18 in 6 years at Cincinnati. They had that CFP appearance. That was the 4-team era, not the 12-team era, folks. And they lost, I think, 27-6 or something against Bama. And now he's coached Wisconsin for 3 years. 2022, he already got hired there, and he coached them in their bowl game where they lost in the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. So 0-1 in 2022. Then his first full year there, they have a 7-5 regular season, losing the Relic West Bowl to LSU, finishing 7-6. Next year, 2024, they go 5-7, first losing season since 2001 for Wisconsin. That is crazy. And then last year, 2025, 4-8. They can't get a quarterback. That's their big issue. They had like a game where they only threw for like 30 yards or something, and they beat Washington in an upset or something. He's gone 17-21, 16, and that is counting, well, and that, I'm not sure, 15, that is not counting his bowl game loss. That is not counting his bowl game loss, I don't think. But maybe it wasn't the buyout because Wisconsin does have confidence in him. But if they have another non-bowl game year, you gotta just pull the trigger. Don't care about the buyout. Now, it might have not been the buyout that was saving him. Some signs kind of point to it wasn't the buyout that saved him. But maybe it was the buyout. And, I don't know. I think it's time to move on from Luke Fickell. Now, sometimes it pans out for group of 5 coaches leaving. Signetti's a perfect example. Willie Fritz had a good second year, so maybe he's a good example. But some guys like Fickell's doing bad. Mike Norvell, he had that good year, but he's not doing the best. So maybe group of 5 coaches shouldn't necessarily jump at the opportunity of a new job. But I'm not so sure. I think if you have another bad year, I think you fire Luke Fickell. Shane Beamer is a guy where I believe in Sellers. I talked about it with my collab with Witty CFB. South Carolina's kind of a dark horse to me. I only have him going 8-4. So I don't think Shane Beamer gets fired, but he's been there for 5 years. First year 7-6, Duke's Mayo Bowl champions. 2022, 8-4 regular season, 8-5 overall, Gator Bowl loss. 2023 struggled 5-7. 2024 Sellers comes in 9-3 regular season. If Sellers doesn't get hurt against LSU, they make the college football playoff. But then they lost in the Citrus Bowl to Illinois. And then last year, tons of hype. I had him number 9 in my preseason ranking. One of many mistakes I made in my preseason top 10. They were barely outside of the top 10 in the preseason AP poll, and they went 4-8. He's gone 33-35. At South Carolina. I think Josh Payton once said that, if you almost make the playoffs at South Carolina, that'll buy you a couple more years. I think he might have said that. I'm not sure. But I don't know, because I believe in Lenora Sellers, kind of like DJ Lagway. Except for it makes more sense, because Sellers has more upside. He was better his freshman year than Lagway was, and Sellers was probably better than Lagway was last year. But there was that disastrous year. Obviously, there was that disastrous year. And especially when they shockingly went up 30-3 on the road against a 10-0 or 9-0 Texas A&M. Remember that? And they blew it. That was crazy that they blew that against Texas A&M. But now, is South Carolina a pretty good SEC dark horse like I think they will be? But Beamer's not going to get canned. I don't think Beamer's going to get canned. But if they have a bad year like last year, it's like, whoa, we just wasted the Lenora Sellers era of having a Heisman ceiling type quarterback, and we wasted him on 1 year we almost made the playoffs, but the next 2 we didn't even get a bowl game. I think they would move off of Shane Beamer then. But if they have an 8-4 year, he's fine. If they make the playoffs, he's absolutely fine. So but Shane Beamer's definitely on the hot seat, because what a disaster. It was last season. Jeff Lebby is next up. 2 years there. First year 2-10, next year 5-8. Duke's Mayo Bowl lost because I think it was because Iowa State, Kansas State, and Notre Dame all opted out that they needed to throw in a 5-7 team that didn't meet the bowl game criteria. But something I kind of found weird is Zach Arnett in his first year at Mississippi State, because he coached him in the bowl game, and I think they won when Mike Leach sadly passed away, and then And then he guided them to like a 5-5, 5-6 start, and then got fired. And they finished 5-7. And it kind of confused me. Why did he get fired when they weren't doing good, but they weren't doing terrible? And then Jeff Lebby goes 2-10 year one and doesn't get fired. So I don't know why Zach Arnett going like 5-5 or 5-6 in year one gets him fired, but Jeff Lebby going 2-10 did not. Then they went 5-8 last year. They upsetted Arizona State, and they almost upset Tennessee. Like, they scared some schools, but they never could quite get it done. They're kind of a dark horse. I don't think Jeff Lebby gets fired, but he's gone 7-18. In 2 years at Mississippi State, it has not been ideal for Jeff Lebby down there, but I don't know. I don't think he gets canned, but there's certainly an opportunity. Although Mississippi State is in a prestigious school, 7-18 is not good, especially if you're in the SEC. He's on the hot seat. I don't think he gets fired. I think Mississippi State could scare some teams going into cowbell land. We need more cowbell, but he's definitely on the hot seat. 7-18 is pretty brutal. Next up, Bill Belichick, the drama about the AD. I think his name was like Joe Lunardi, or not Joe Lunardi. He's the bracketologist. Joe Lombardi or something. He left. There's tons of controversy going around with North Carolina. And Bill Belichick, there was hype, the Chapel Bill era, the merch called Chapel Bill, pun on Chapel Hill, and his name being Bill Belichick, Bill. But boy, oh boy, it went bad. 4-8, and they lost against TCU at home in a blowout. Clemson came to town. Clemson was bad that year, and they even smoked them. It was rough, and they went 4-8, absolute disaster. And there was talk, hey, is Bill Belichick just going to resign and call it quits? I think that if this year's bad and they miss out on a bowl game, which it probably will be, they need to just mutually agree to part ways. Why would Bill Belichick want to be coaching this team if he realizes he's not good enough for the college level? And why would North Carolina? I don't care he won 6 Super Bowls, a guy who at the college level hasn't even made a bowl game yet. I think they would move on from him, or they'd mutually agree to part ways, because there was talks about that last year. But it's a disaster. There's drama going on, and their AD, I think he might be leaving at the end of the year, but it's just bad. And it's funny that the kickoff game of this entire season in Dublin, Ireland, Chapel Bill is playing in, which is funny that the premier game of this entire season is Chapel Bill, because they scheduled that once he got hired, I'm pretty sure. So craziness, but I think that if they have another 4-8 year, you mutually agree to part ways or fire him or something. Find a way to move off of him in some way. He's definitely on the hot seat after that disaster and all the controversy going on. It's rough down there in Chapel Bill. And so I gotta take a drink of water. Next up is a coach who some people will agree with, some people will not. Some people might say in the comments, you never got to see this dude's prime days. You've just gotten to see his rough days. Get him off of the hot seat list. Dabo Swinney, I get it. I never saw his 2 national championships. I did see him win 2 ACC championships. I have seen him make the 12-team college football playoff. But yes, I did not see the Deshaun Watson national championship days. The Trevor Lawrence national championship days. I get that. But still, I've got him on here. It's gotten rough. So in 2008, he took over as the interim coach. They went 4-3, lost in the Gator Bowl. And that was his worst year at Clemson. But his worst full year at Clemson was his most recent year. But next year, they went 9-5, Music City Bowl champions, lost an ACC title game. Next year, 6-7, lost in Monique Care Bowl. Next year, 10-4, won ACC title game, lost in Orange Bowl. Next year, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl champions, and they went 11-2. Next year, 2013, 11-2, Orange Bowl champions. 2014, 10-3, Russell Athletic Bowl champions. 2015, 14-1, ACC champions, Orange Bowl champions, national championship loss. Next year, 2016, 14-1 again, ACC champions, Fiesta Bowl champions, and national champions. Finally got it done. 2017, 12-2, ACC champions, Sugar Bowl CFP semifinal loss. 2018, 15-0, ACC champions, Cotton Bowl champions, and national champions. 2019, 14-1 ACC and Fiesta Bowl champions, national champions. 2020, 10-2 ACC champions, CFP semifinal Sugar Bowl loss. 2021, 10-3 Cheez-It Bowl champions. 2022, 11-3 ACC champions, lost in the Orange Bowl, which was not a college football playoff bowl. 2023, 9-4 Gator Bowl champions. That year they started out 4-4 and won their last 5, including the bowl game. 2024, 10-4 ACC champions, CFP round 1 loss, first year of the 12-team era. And last year, all the hype, and it turned out to be his worst full season at Clemson, not counting his 4-3 interim year, going 7-6, Pinstripe Bowl loss. Excuse me. Overall, he's got 187-53 in I think 18 seasons at Clemson. So you're gonna say, what the heck, guy? This guy has won like tons of ACC championships. He's been to the national championship 4 times. He's won 2 national championships. He's been incredible. They made the 12-team college football playoff, not this past season, but the year before that. What the heck is your problem? Last year was like a last dance. I think I might have heard Josh Page or someone talk about this, but it was like Clemson wasn't going to be super dominant again, and this was going to be their last year of truly being dominant. Preseason ranked 4th. I had them preseason number 1. I had Cade Klubnik winning the Heisman. I said it in my preseason ranking video in 2025, and they go 7-6. I don't get it. And then you fire Garrett Riley. All that great production's gone. I'm not saying Dabo's going to get fired. But I do think that if you have another year going like 7-6 like last year, now it's not that tough schedule. It's the ACC folks. They could shock the world. They could beat LSU on the road week 1. Dabo could be tired of the talk saying Clemson is dead, and they go out and they get a fantastic football win. But I am saying, I might move off of him if you have another 7-6 season. I'm not saying they will. And you better move off of him if you miss out on a bowl game. I'm not saying they will go 7-6. I'm not saying I predict Dabo to get fired. But based on the recent trends, that 10-3 Cheez-It Bowl year was not the best. 2022 was good. They won the ACC, but they didn't make the playoffs. Next year, 9-4 looks good on paper. They started out 4-4. And just won 5 in a row, including a Gator Bowl win against Kentucky. Next year, 10-4. Well, think about it. They lost against South Carolina at home in that rivalry game, and that eliminated their odds of getting out in that large bid. And they needed Syracuse to upset Miami in order to make the playoffs and fend off an SMU comeback in order to make it, only to still lose by 2 touchdowns against Texas, and last year was just pitiful. It's been rough lately, especially last year. Maybe last year is just a sign of the times. It's done. Like the Harry Styles song, Sign of the Times, it might be done. It literally might be done. Time to pack your bags and move on. 18 years, great job, Dabo. Clemson loves you, but maybe it's time to move on. I'm just saying. Some people, I can almost, if I get a lot of views on this, people are going to say, really, dude, you're young. You never got to see his prime days. Be quiet. I don't know. It might be time to move off of Dabo. We've got Mike Locksley. He's very much on the hot seat. He went 2-26 at New Mexico, which is absolutely embarrassing. And then in 2015, he went 1-5 as Maryland's interim, but then he got the full job in 2019, 3-9, 2-3 the COVID year, 7-6 Pinstripe Bowl champions in 2021, 8-5 Duke's Mayo Bowl champions 2022, 2023 8-5 Music City Bowl champions, 2024 4-8, 2025 4-8. They started out 4-0 last year and had a big lead against Washington to go up 5-0. Like, I remember the next day or something, I was talking about the undefeated programs remaining, and I literally said Maryland surprisingly at 5-0. I remember that because I thought they won that football game. I thought they did, and that loss broke the team, and they went 4-8. It might be time to move on. Started out rough his first 2 full years there, but then 7-6, 8-5, 8-5, back-to-back 8-5 years. All 3 of those years won a bowl game. Okay, we're rolling. Back-to-back 4-8 years. Last year, 4-0 start, had a big lead to go up 5-0 and fell apart. This is a make-or-break year for Mike Locksley, or it might be time to move on. Now, these aren't coaches who are on the hot seat that I'm naming now. I have 2 examples because did anyone exactly think James Franklin was going to get fired? I mean, yeah, he never exactly won anything. People were calling for his job, but nothing serious. Did anyone, seriously, realistically think he was going to get fired? No, I predicted them to win the national championship in my preseason rankings videos. And so, yeah, in 2025. So, I'm going to put 2 guys who could be the James Franklin of this coaching cycle, where I'm not saying, hey, I think these guys are going to get fired. Because the point of calling them the James Franklin of this coaching cycle is saying we'd be shocked. We were shocked when James Franklin got fired. No one really saw that coming at the beginning of the year. So these are 2 guys where, hey, things go wrong, they could get canned. Kalen DeBoer, 25-3 in 2 seasons at Washington, the national championship, all that. First year there, 9-4, lost in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Next year, 11-4, lost in the SEC championship game. Won in round 1 of the college football playoff at Oklahoma in a 14-point comeback, and then got blown out 38-3 in the Rose Bowl against the eventual national champions, Indiana. He's gone 28 at Alabama. That's an average of 10-4 per year. That is unacceptable at Alabama. We all know he had potentially the biggest shoes in college football history to fill, and that's going to put pressure. I did an Alabama record prediction. I kind of regretted it, but I had 7-5. Hosting Georgia, hosting Texas A&M, at Tennessee, at Vanderbilt, and there was another game. All very losable, and at LSU, yeah. I'm not saying, I get it, predicting them to lose at Vanderbilt is bull. Alabama always beats Georgia in the regular season, even under DeBoer, and that game's at home. They're at home against Texas A&M. So at Tennessee, who knows about Tennessee, but still, who knows about Alabama? We're less than a month from week 1, and they still haven't named a starting quarterback. Now, same goes for Tennessee and Vanderbilt, but still. So, maybe, because I still believe in Vanderbilt. It's on the road. I'm excited for that game, but I just see if things go rough, if 7-5 happens, which I'm not saying it will, but if it does, it might be time to move on. I just think DeBoer struggled, and if they go 7-5, or if they have a rough year and easily mess out on the playoffs or something, it might be time to move on. And don't be going crazy in the comments. What? Guy thinks DeBoer's going to get fired? What? No, this is the shocking firing. No one saw James Franklin coming. This is the shocking firing. So I'm just saying, if things go bad and they go 7-5, like I think they could, because they go at LSU, at Vanderbilt, at Tennessee, and host Texas A&M and Georgia, there are troubles a-brewing. Excuse me, and this one might get the comments riled up. Steve Sarkisian in Texas. At Texas. He went 34-29 at Washington, 12-6 at USC in his career. You guys are probably going crazy. What the heck? Didn't this guy just in his rankings video say Arch Manning's going to win the Heisman? Texas was number 1 in his rankings, and he said Texas was going to win the national championship? Yes, I said all those things. And now you're like, what? Now you're saying Sark could get fired? What? You said Arch Manning was going to win the Heisman. You said you had Texas at number 1 in your rankings. You said they were going to win the national championship. Well, look at it this way. I did not say Drew Aller was going to win the Heisman in my 2025 preseason rankings, but I had Penn State at number 2, one lower than number 1, and I said Penn State was going to win the national championship. These are shocking firings. I don't want the comments blowing up about that, because this is shocking firings. I had Penn State winning the national championship and James Franklin got fired. These are shocking firings, people. That's why I have Sarkisian. And Sarkisian has won more than James Franklin. But still, never won an SEC championship, never been to a national championship, never won a national championship. So still, what has he technically won, technically nothing. Technically nothing. 2021, his first year, they're 5-7. 2022, 8-5 Alamo Bowl loss. 2023, 12-2 Big 12 champions. Sugar Bowl CFP semifinal loss to Washington. 2024, 13-3 SEC runner-ups. That was the year they made the SEC championship, obviously. And CFP round 1 victory, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl victory against Arizona State in that thrilling game, 4th and 13 or whatever, completed that pass. But then Cotton Bowl semifinal loss to Ohio State. And then last year, preseason number 1, Arch Manning preseason Heisman favorite, disaster, 10-3, Cheez-It Citrus Bowl champions. So if you go 10-3 again, it could be time to move on. Or not 10-3, but there's hype. Arch Manning's back for one last year. Ryan Wingo's back. Cam Coleman, the 5-star transfer, who received for like 700-something yards at Auburn and had that fantastic catch that went viral on social media. But look at Texas as a brutal schedule. They host Ohio State. They got to go to Neyland. There's questions around Tennessee, but it's in Neyland, a crazy environment. They got to go to LSU. I'm high on LSU. I have LSU beating Texas, even though I have Texas winning the national championship. Texas has to go on the road against Texas A&M. I'm pretty sure they host Ole Miss. I think they win 4 of those games, but those are 5 losable games. They get Ohio State at home. They get Ole Miss at home. Still dangerous games. They have to go to Texas A&M, to Tennessee. Questions about Tennessee still. At LSU, first-year coach, I don't care. I think they win 4 out of those 5 games, but we're going crazy firings like James Franklin. Well, James Franklin, who would have thought they lost at UCLA? Especially considering UCLA was 0-4 going into that game. Who would have thought that they lost to Northwestern? Really? We're going that route? Okay, folks, if we're going that route, I'm just saying, and those are all more realistic losses. They have to host Ohio State, go to Tennessee, host Ole Miss, go to LSU, and go to Texas A&M in a rivalry where Texas A&M hasn't won it in ages because they've lost the past 2 times, and then there was that big drought before that. So we're saying crazy firings. I get it. I had Texas number 1 in my rankings, said Arch Manning was going to win Heisman, said they would only lose one game at LSU and win the national championship. We're talking crazy firings. I had Penn State number 2 in my preseason rankings. I said Penn State was going to win the national championship because they hired Jim Knowles and all that, and Drew Allard was back. If that's what we're saying here, we're talking as shocking as James Franklin being fired. And Sarkisian's accomplished more than James Franklin because he made the 4-team college football playoff. He's won a conference championship, unlike James Franklin did. But we're talking shocking firings, and he hasn't even been to a national championship. Hasn't won one. Hasn't won a Big 12 championship. So if things go wrong and they have 5 losable games that are way more easy to call losses than Penn State's losses against UCLA and Northwestern, we're talking crazy firings. Sarkisian and Kalen DeBoer are ones to look out for. Before we wrap up this episode, let's get to the trivia question of the day. The category is awards. True or false, all these players were named to the 2023 All-Pro squad. Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson, Kansas City guard Joe Thuney, Dallas wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, Detroit offensive tackle Penei Sewell, and San Francisco running back Christian McCaffrey. The answer to the trivia question is true. Lamb, Thuney, and Sewell were among the first selections, and McCaffrey was a unanimous choice. I never said anything about Lamar Jackson, but he made it, I guess. So that is the answer to your football trivia question for Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. I hope you guys liked my hot seat list. We had Mike Norvell, Lincoln Riley, Davon Aranda, Shane Beamer, Jeff Lebby, Bill Belichick, Mike Loxley, Luke Fickell. So 8 true guys. And then we had Kalen DeBoer and Steve Sarkisian as shocking dark horse firings, kind of like James Franklin last year. But before we wrap up this episode, I'm going to give you guys kind of a deep down to what's going on college football takeover. Next week, we're going to be saying games I'm most excited for, most notable games each week, kind of like Josh Pate did yesterday, most notable games to look forward to that I'm most excited for and stuff. That's next week, most exciting games each week. And then that Sunday, so not this Sunday, but next, I'm going to reveal my college football playoff ranking. This Monday, I'm going to react to the AP poll, so that'll be before my most notable games episode. And then, of course, like I said, we're doing the my college football playoff bracket the Sunday before college football starts, so before week 0, August 23rd. And then that week, we're getting back to Big 12 Monday, ACC Tuesday, Big 10 Wednesday, and SEC Thursday. And then that Friday, we're going to be doing Q&A. So far, I have 7 fantastic questions. Thank you, guys. And then that Saturday pregame show, that Sunday reaction to week 0, and we're back in business from there. And then back Big 12 Monday, ACC Tuesday, Big 10 Wednesday, SEC Thursday. But if you guys remember, I didn't really do any Friday content. I predicted the Friday games occasionally, but this time we're going to talk about most notable group of 6 teams in Notre Dame and predict the Friday night games. And then, so starting the week before week 0, we're back in business with the Big 12 Monday and all that stuff, except for that Friday is the Q&A instead of group of 6 talk. I'll talk more about all these details if you didn't quite understand it. But thank you guys for watching this episode. Tell me in the comments, who are your hot seat coaches for this upcoming season, and do you agree with mine? And who are your dark horse ones? That could be like James Franklin last season. But thank you guys for watching, and if you like this kind of content, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. I'm at 650 now. Thank you so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of College Football Takeover, and I'll see you next time for my most notable games, or actually for my AP poll reaction, and then my most notable games. But thank you guys for tuning in. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time on College Football Takeover. Bye now.